I have one question. It's a question which I have been grappling with as well. It's a hard question, so I may put you on the spot with it. But it's how do you think about defensibility of companies in the AI era, right? How should founders think about moats? Because if the ability to build if software, let's say not today, but in 3 years' time or 2 years' time, can essentially build itself, right? And the ability to build great products or build great software is no longer the moat, right? Then what are you selling to the customer at the end of the day? What is your right to continue selling? I've also heard the argument that, look, even SaaS was never about really building unique software. It was more about sales and implementation and workflows, and getting really, really deeply embedded in a way that people wouldn't want to let you go. But curious to hear your thoughts, especially how, what kind of competitive intensity your portfolio companies are facing. How are they able to win deals in a competitive market, and more importantly, sort of maintain them? I'm cognizant that it's not been a decade since this has happened, so we've not seen this cycle fully play out.
Yeah.
Just from an early sense, right? How do you think about defensibility? How should founders think about moats when building AI software companies today?
So I'll answer this in two parts. When you think of defensibility, the first part of defensibility is your ability to win new business. So let's say you're pitching to a customer. Are there other competitors also pitching today the same product, and how do you win against that? So because we're in the early stages of this enterprise AI adoption, I think we are beginning to see some of this, but there's still lots of green spaces. So back to Lancer, for example, there is a much funded player in that company called Happy Robots, which Anderson has funded. So they're not the first, but Happy Robots is only 6 months ahead, and so it's not like they've captured the market. So most of the customers they're pitching to, nobody has pitched to them, and they have some uniquenesses, around within that industry, the kind of customers they're pitching to, so they're winning in that business. So I think today, in terms of sort of winning new business, I think it's still we have a lot of green spaces, in the next few years. Then there's a question of longer term defensibility, right? Do you imagine a world 2, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, where it's all settled down, a little bit, and then there is kind of a new player comes in, or you're taking away business from somebody else, or you're basically losing your business to a competitor and things like that. I don't think that has played out so far, because it's just too early in this evolution. In the first category, again, speed is considered to be a mode. So VCs love engineers today who are building even faster. So I think if you are somewhat like a medium speed engineer, it's very hard to fund you because the moat is viewed at this, that who's producing more features, who's sitting out the nights, producing even more features in the next 2 or 3 months versus your competitors. But in the longer term, I suspect the moat will come down to the things that you said, which is SaaS type moats, which are deep embedding with the customers, domain understanding, relationships, integration with subsystems, date proprietary data. I think, like, again, lanes up to the word, what they do is that, they claim that they have all these customers. The quality will always be better because they have the metadata, and all that. I don't know if it will sustain over a period of time, but, at least it's a legitimate theoretical claim to be made. So I think, these are going to be the modes which are not dissimilar to the SaaS modes.
I think that's super interesting also because, for example, if you want to transform traditional industries like manufacturing, like logistics, healthcare, whatever, right, where tech adoption is not or has not always been the top priority of management of the organization. It's probably second, third, or fourth on the priority list, right? If you're able to actually build fast and deploy fast, that's probably also because you know what to build better than others. So your subject matter understanding, domain expertise, knowing what features, what products to build, knowing how to articulate and position the value proposition is something that's super interesting. I also think there's this whole narrative over, do you build a very thick MVP product before you take it to a customer, or do you build a thin MVP product that gets the foot in the door but delivers value immediately? So essentially, what I'm taking away from what you're saying is that it's not just about the product engineering side of things. It's also a lot of this business thinking that becomes very, very important, because that's how you're able to optimize, right? Like, you can take a year to build a product even today. You can take months to build a product today and get in through the door. So I think vertical expertise and capabilities is probably going to be something that will be incredibly important going forward, because the
And it was
horizontal is
always
easier
important,
to
even in the
disrupt.
past. Even in the
Yeah.
past, it was important, right? I mean, you can't, SaaS products also can't just be built by R&D engineers, right? Product engineers. It needs to be, again, you need that domain knowledge. You need to be able to understand what to build and things like that. But I would say on a spectrum, yeah, maybe it's become even more important because as the sort of, let's say, engineering becomes a little bit easier, then these
Right.
things a little bit more gravitas.